Alright, so let's now talk about splines. So splines are mathematical curves, and for making a spline you don't need any fixed geometry like length, arc radius, or maybe diameter or something like that. So the spline tool is again on the sketch palette right here. So if you click this arrow, you'll see all the other spline options. So we have a spline and also style spline. I'll start with a spline and I'll select the front plane. Alright, now I'll click at a point, let go my cursor, then second point, third, fourth, and so on. And here we have it. We have the spline. Now to exit out of this, I'll press escape. And we have the spline. Now these are the control points of the spline, and using these control points you can change the shape of your spline even after making it. So I'll select this point, I'll move it around, and as you can see it will change it. You can also change it like this. Not only that, using these control points you can change the curvature of your spline. For example, when I'm selecting this endpoint and I'm moving it, it is always kind of moving in this direction so that this control handle remains tangent at this point. Now in this case we can change it. To do that, I'll first move it back to this place so that we can see it clearly, and then let's understand what this handle is all about. So in this handle we have 3 points. The first point is this diamond handle. When you grab this, it will let you change the angle of a spline. So as you can see, it is just changing the angle and nothing else. Then we have this arrowhead. When you select the arrowhead, it will let you change the curvature. So here it is. If I'm moving it far, well, it is changing the shape, and moving it closer will also change it likewise. Now if you want to change both, then grab this point here, right here at the end of this arrow, just select it, and this will let you change angle as well as curvature. So using this you can completely change the way your spline looks. So I'll just make it kind of like this. Now the same thing is applicable for all of these. So here also you'll see the same handles on both the sides. You can grab this one and, well, move it around, change the shape of your spline however you want, and once you're satisfied with the final shape you can let go of that. So I did that change very dramatically, so I'll now do that in a slow fashion, kind of like this, slowly, so that the change is kind of very subtle, not very dramatic. Alright, there we have it. You can also apply constraints on these. So I'll select this last dot right here, and when you select it you'll notice that the relations or the constraints will show up here. Currently we only have fixed constraint, but now I'll select this point, I'll move it slightly, and now we have horizontal and vertical constraint too. I'll click on horizontal. I want to make it horizontal. Similarly, we can just grab this one, move it slightly, and just make it horizontal like this. And similarly we can just change all the other constraints to change the shape of a spline as per our requirement. Now let's see what the second kind of a spline we have. So I'll just move it here. I'll go to spline, and the second one is style spline. Now in this case you can select the spline type, so Bezier or B-spline with different degrees. I'll select the Bezier one, and then here we have it. So now in this case the workflow may look very similar, but as you can see the spline is made with very gradual curves. So I'll just press escape. After clicking here I'll press escape, and there we have it. When you compare it with the previous one, you can see that the curves are very gradual, and that's because of the way this spline is made. So in this case spline has these control vertices which are not exactly on the spline. And using these control vertices you can again change the shape of your spline. So there we have it. So you can still change the shape of your spline, and if you want to constrain any of these control vertices or the line connecting them, then you can select and then constrain it however you want. But this kind of curve will be much more gradual when compared with the first spline that we made here. And that's how you can make splines. Now if you are wondering where to use these kind of features, well, one of the best examples where you can use a spline is for tracing the geometry. For example, if you added, let's say, image of a bottle and you just want to trace its boundaries, then you can use spline tool to do that.